Villager's son, driving for DoorDash, arrested after a fast food worker calls a cop. Villager's son, arrested in recreation center thefts, facing new charges. Bond revoked for DUI suspect caught driving with another open bottle of Fireball. Village of Bridgeport at Lake Sumter home. Sales for $1.75 million. Villagers concerned about outsiders fishing at pond near their home. Powerball ticket worth $1 million sold in the Villages. Homeowner could face $500 daily fines for displaying Little White Cross. Leader of RV Owners Club in the Villages insists on being good neighbors. Villager's troubled son taken into custody at Sawgrass Grove Market. A villager driving with flat tires and missing a bumper arrested on a DUI charge. More bad parking in the Villages. This and more coming up. A villager's son driving for DoorDash was arrested after a fast food drive-thru attendant called law enforcement. An employee at Hardee's restaurant in Leesburg was working just past midnight on Sunday when 36-year-old Mark Reagan of the village of Hawkins pulled through the drive-thru lane in a Mazda sedan. The Hardee's employee spotted an open bottle of liquor in Reagan's car and advised him to pull over to a parking spot in the restaurant. The Hardee's employee suggested Reagan should call someone to pick him up. Reagan's car remained in a nearby parking spot for a few minutes, but when Reagan attempted to drive away, the fast food worker called 911. Good for you. An officer approached Reagan's car and spotted a red DoorDash bag on the floorboard. Reagan confirmed he drives for the food delivery company. The officer also saw the open liquor bottle, and it appeared Reagan had been drinking. He asked for his driver's license, but Reagan ceased making eye contact with the officer. A wallet containing Reagan's Pennsylvania driver's license was found in the car. Reagan performed poorly in field sobriety exercises and provided breath samples that registered .309 and .317. Woo! Blood alcohol content. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Lake County Jail. He was released after posting a $1,000 bond. I don't know how high you have to be as far as alcohol in your blood to have alcohol poisoning, I think they call it, in your blood. I know it's up there, and I'm thinking this guy might have been on the verge of it. Here's an update of the latest of the same person. A villager's troubled son was taken into custody at Sawgrass Grove Market. Mark Reagan, 36, of the village of Hawkins, was arrested at 10:20 a.m. Friday by Sumter County Sheriff's deputies on a probation violation. The Philadelphia native was bailed out of the Lake County Jail on Monday afternoon following his arrest in the wee hours Sunday on a charge of driving under the influence. Because he is already on probation, Reagan was rearrested when he was found at Sawgrass Grove and booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. Reagan had been driving for DoorDash when he was pulled through a Leesburg Hardee's drive-thru lane in the Mazda sedan, and you guys already heard the rest of that story. In June, Reagan was placed on probation for 6 months in order to perform 20 hours of community service in a hit-and-run case. He had been driving a Mazda sedan on May 1st when he rear-ended a trailer being towed by a truck in the area of State Road 44 and Powell Road. His father helped police track him down. So this is the third time since when? May? That this boy's been arrested. A son of a couple in the Villages arrested earlier this year in the theft of equipment from recreation centers is facing new charges. It's time after time after time. Christopher Scott Drummond, 33, who lives with his parents at 688 Mincy Loop in the village of St. Catherine, was booked this week at the Marion County Jail to face charges of burglary, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property. Drummond, who was arrested earlier this year in the theft of Epson projectors from the Alamanda Recreation Center and the Hibiscus Recreation Center, is accused of working with an accomplice to steal a Generac generator last year from a home in Ocala. The homeowner found his generator for sale on Facebook Marketplace. He and his wife went to the seller's home. The husband detracted the seller while his wife used her phone to snap a photo of the generator's serial number. Smart. It matched the serial number of their stolen generator. They contacted the Ocala Police Department. An officer interviewed a seller who indicated that two men, one known to him as Chris, the other is referred to by his nickname of New York, were drug addicts and often tried to sell him items, meeting him at a local Circle K according to an affidavit of probable cause from the Ocala Police Department. Well, that makes him an accessory, right? When Sumter County Sheriff's deputies were investigating the theft of the projectors from the recreation center, Drummond's mother told them her son had gone to the shores area in Marion County to retrieve the projectors which had been sold. Drummond admitted he was familiar with the equipment storage at the recreation centers because he frequently went there to play cards. Drummond was previously convicted of armed robbery and theft in New York. A criminal indigent form he filled out for Sumter County Court indicated he has no income and is relying on the services of a public defender's office for legal representation. Isn't that nice? Drummond's parents bought their home in the village of St. Catherine in 2021 for $401,400. Bond has been revoked for a drunk driving suspect caught driving with another open bottle of Fireball whiskey in her vehicle. Kathy Michael Kane, 60, who had been living in the Sugarberry Villas in the village of Hammock at Finney, was arrested in March after her Lincoln SUV hit a pole at the Sumter County Library at Pinellas Plaza. A large open bottle of Fireball whiskey was spotted in her SUV's center console. She was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. While she was free on a $1,000 bond and her driving privileges were suspended, Kane was arrested on another charge of driving under the influence. Kane, who is now living at the Mark at Wildwood, had been driving a blue Land Rover SUV on the night of June 30 on County Road 466 when a Wildwood police officer noticed she did not have her headlights on. That's always a giveaway. During a traffic stop at the nearby Aldi's grocery store, the officer quickly concluded that Kane was driving impaired and learned that her license had been suspended due to her previous DUI arrest. She performed poorly in field sobriety exercises and refused to provide breath samples. A half-empty bottle of Fireball whiskey was spotted on the passenger seat of the SUV. Another empty Fireball bottle was found on the passenger side floorboard. She was arrested on charges of driving under the influence and driving while license suspended. She was ticketed for an open container violation. She was released on a $15,000 bond. The Portsmouth, Ohio native was taken into custody again on Monday after a judge ordered the bond to be revoked as a result of the second arrest while she was out on bond. She was being held without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. They just never learn. A village of Bridgeport at Lake Sumter home has been sold for $1.75 million. The home located at 1489 Blease Loop was sold this past week. The 3,600 square foot residence has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a 3-car garage. The home has a water view and a golf view where you can watch the golf action on Arnold Palmer Championship Riley Grove course, hole 1, all the way from the tee box to the green. The home also has a gourmet kitchen with a 48-inch professional Sub-Zero refrigerator with a window and a European mild double oven. The home was sold by Dottie Wise, who also happens to be a realtor. She and her husband purchased a home for $775,000. He passed away in 2019. They had been married for 48 years. It's a long time to be together. Villagers are concerned about outsiders fishing at a pond near their home. Residents of Allendale Villas spoke out about their concerns Thursday morning before the Community Development District 7 Board of Supervisors meeting at Seabreeze Recreation Center. Cindy Levins, acting as a spokesman for her group of neighbors, described the situation which has the residents worried. They bring their girlfriends, get out blankets and coolers, and have a good old time, Levins said. It's 7 and 8 people having a good time, whooping it up. She said the picnic areas are being set up within full view of the residents' windows. They are out there staring in my window. She described the fishermen as teenagers and said they had been spotted, especially at night. She added that children had been along, and she said a little girl who appeared to be 3 years old was dangerously close to the pond. There are 2 alligators in that pond. The pond is located off County Road 466 and on the 8th hole of the Truman Executive Golf Course near Sumter Senior Living. Levins pointed out that because the pond is located on a golf course, the residents aren't the only ones impacted by the fishermen. She said golfers are coming in contact with them also. Deputy District Manager Carrie Duckett said the first step will be determining ownership of the pond. What? Let me ask you a simple question. If we don't know if we own that pond, then why are we paying a high price to have a company come in and take care of our ponds, spray them for weeds and whatever? Huh? If we don't own them, why are we doing that? CDD7 Board Chairman Jerry Vicente said it has to be determined that CDD7 owns the pond. The board could pass a resolution declaring it a pond that is off limits to fishing. In my opinion, something needs to be done, Vicente said. Yeah, go out there and tell them to get out. They did it at Lake Sumter. Isn't that funny? A $1 million Florida lottery ticket has been sold in the Villages. The ticket was purchased at the Publix grocery store at Magnolia Plaza in the Villages. While the ticket holder may not be the winner of a $1 billion Powerball jackpot, the person that bought the ticket is one of 5 Florida lottery ticket purchasers winning second-tier $1 million prizes. Wednesday's winning numbers were 7, 10, 11, 13, 24, Powerball 24, Power Play 2. 4 of the Florida tickets were Powerball winners, and the 5th was a Powerball Play winner, according to the Florida Lottery of Tallahassee. The other $1 million winner tickets sold in Florida were at Publix at 101 North Blair Stone Road in Tallahassee, Winn-Dixie at 1339 Blanding Boulevard in Orange Park, Amico at 9045 20th Street in Vero Beach, Smile Food Mart at 7502 U.S. Highway 19 North in Port Richey. I have a subscriber in Port Richey. I hope she won it. Seriously, I hope she won it. That'd be great. A couple in the Villages could face $500 fines if they display a little white cross at their home. Joseph and Monica Finch of 3528 Valiant Court in the village of Hillsborough ran afoul of community standards this past November in connection with a little white cross on display in their yard. After a visit from community standards, the couple removed the cross and were back in compliance. However, the Finches put the little white cross back in their yard and were paid another visit in June by community standards. The couple, who bought the home in 2014 and were its original owners, eventually were persuaded to move the little white cross up under the eaves at the front entrance to their home and are currently in compliance. I've been saying that 100 times. People don't listen. They just want to argue. If you put it up under the eaves of the house, close to the house, it's okay. I always said just put it in a flower pot. One next to your front door. Everybody's got one next to the front door. You got one on each side of the garage door, somewhere up there. Put them in there, and you're good to go. However, the couple's property was the subject of a public hearing Thursday afternoon in front of Community Development District 10 Board of Supervisors. Joseph Finch, who served in the U.S. Army from 1966 to 1991, testified before the board and said the U.S. Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, and therefore they should be allowed to display their little white cross. The Vietnam War veteran, thank you for your service, who flew missions over Cambodia and Laos, that was ugly, those of you that remember, and was later involved in the invasion of Nicaragua, objected to community standards' assertion that the cross is considered a lawn ornament. It's a symbol of my faith. His neighbor, Tom Brigham, agreed to also testify before the board. The cross is not a lawn ornament or lawn art. It's a statement of religious belief. As such, it is not covered by the restrictions. However, CDD-10 supervisors were unmoved by the testimony. They voted unanimously to classify the Finches as repeat offenders. That means the CDD-10 board is empowered to immediately impose enhanced fines if the cross is put back on display. Having been branded a repeat violator, the Finches could face an immediate fine of $500 and daily fines of $500 if they dare to defy the board's ruling. The most famous little white cross in Florida's hometown remains on display at the home of Wayne and Bonnie Anderson in the village of Tamman Grove as they fight on with their court case. One of the major recreational vehicle clubs in the Villages has successfully lobbied officials to reject their plan to limit driveway time to 48 hours. As you guys know, I said 72 is better. You could probably do it in 48, but you got to take age, the hot temperatures, and all that kind of stuff. And if you never did an RV, packing and unpacking, then you have no idea. The Community Development District 5 Board of Supervisors had planned to reduce the RV parking from 72 hours to 48 hours. That's in your driveway. Technically, you cannot park it in front of your house on the street. It has to be off-road. That's what my deed restriction says. However, Bernie Harcher, president of the Family Motor Coach Association in the Villages, has convinced CDD5 supervisors to keep the 72-hour rule in place. He said RV owners need that much time to clean up their RVs after a trip and prep them for storage. Yes, absolutely. In return, Harcher has promised to enhance educational efforts so the members of the club understand the importance of adhering to the deed restrictions governing RVs. He also said the club will apply peer pressure to members who does not adhere to the guidelines. If somebody does not follow the rules, they should be held accountable. One of our mottos is be good neighbors. He also thanks CDD supervisors for their willingness to listen to the concerns of the RV owners. Only problem with that is not everybody's a member of that club. I'm not. A villager driving with flat tires and a missing front bumper was arrested on a drunk driving charge. Kathy Ann McCloy, 65, who splits her time between Spring Hill, Tennessee, been there many times. When I was one of the leaders of the UAW for truck drivers, we delivered all the parts to Spring Hill. Spring Hill was the home of the Saturn automobile, and I used to go down there for meetings every now and then. Gorgeous little town. And her home at Emily Villas in the village of Mallory Square. Emily Villas. That's another nice secluded place for patio villas, very, very close to Lake Sumter Landing. It's tucked back away. It's quiet. I've been there. I know what it is, or I know what it was. I don't know what it is today, but I'm sure it's just fine. Nice little place to go. Was driving a red 2019 Chevy Equinox with Tennessee license plates at about 4:30 p.m. Thursday when she caught the attention of Sumter County Sheriff's deputy. The front bumper was missing. All four tires were popped. Lord. And the front tires had been driven down to the rim. How do you not know this? God, Lord. According to the arrest report, she had been involved in a crash in Marion County, which was being investigated by the Florida Highway Patrol. Another hit and run. It appeared McCloy had been drinking. The Michigan native struggled through field sobriety exercises. She agreed to provide a breath sample, but did not properly submit to the test. She was taken to Trailwinds ER, and once she was medically cleared, she was taken to Sumter County Detention Center. McCloy, who has owned her villa since 2011, was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $1,000 bond. Darren Ivey of the village of Polo Ridge launched an online petition effort 5 years ago to bring Portillo's restaurant to the villages. The Illinois native phoned the Chicago area Portillo's office in 2018 and asked what it would take to bring a Portillo's to Florida's friendliest hometown. In an attempt to get the company's attention, his petition effort quickly netted nearly 1,000 signatures. At long last, his dream appears to be coming true. This past week, the town of Lady Lake offered an update on Portillo's restaurant to be built on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 near the intersection of County Road 27 and Teague Trail. Well, it won't be golf cart accessible. The 7,800 square foot fast food restaurant will offer a drive-through, provide 131 parking spaces, and allocate an area for a dumpster enclosure. Portillo's is a Chicago-born chain famous for its hot dogs, burgers, and Italian beef sandwiches. In 1963, Dick Portillo invested $1,100 to a small trailer to open his first Portillo's hot dog stand in Villa Park, Illinois, which he called the Doghouse. Years later, Portillo's has become a brand synonymous with Chicago. There are now more than 70 Portillo locations. The nearest Portillo's restaurants are located in Orlando and Kissimmee. Quick story. Years ago, when I was an owner-operator truck driver, one of my runs that I did at least once, sometimes twice a week, is I went to Chicago to Ball Glass. And not too far down the road from Ball Glass at that time, there was a small building that served basically hot dogs from what I can remember, and it had an extensive bar for stuff you put on it, and it was called Bozo's. I thought it was one of the greatest little places I ever been in my life, and I only seen the one. There might have been more, but I only saw the one. And I took Sue up there with me one time. She had a day off, and I had a run to go up there, and I said, let's go up there if you want to, and then I'll show you this Bozo. We'll go to Bozo's down there while they're unloading my truck. It was just a little walk down the road, and we went up there, and she saw Bozo's. So her and I remember Bozo's and how it was in Chicago, and I thought that was one of the best discoveries of my life at that time. A premier home has been listed for $1.29 million in the village of Bridgeport at Meona Shores. The 3-bedroom and 3-bath home is located on more than 1/3 of an acre at 1102 Lakeview Lane. It has a 3-car garage. This turnkey home is being offered complete with furnishings. It has a saltwater pool, complete with 3 fountains and agricultural pillars, all within the comfort of a screened birdcage. The master suite is a sight to behold, featuring French doors that led to the lanai and a luxurious ensuite bath, which is perfect for pampering with a jetted tub or refresh in a Roman shower. In 2022, a new air conditioning system was installed and a new water heater was added in 2023. Bond balance is $29,095. Seems like here lately on the more expensive homes are starting to cash in. A 74-year-old who danced naked in the street has found himself in more hot water. James Bruce Collier of Summerfield was being held without bond this weekend at the Marion County Jail after forfeiting his bond, which had been posted after his arrest in June. Marion County Sheriff's deputy on June 20 found Collier fully nude, standing outside his residence under a street light. He began touching his penis and moving it around with his hand. God, sometimes I feel so sorry for these cops. A witness had been able to capture it all on a cell phone video. Put it on TikTok. Collier made a run back into his residence when a deputy knocked on the door. Collier claimed he'd been asleep. Collier spoke to the deputy through a sliding glass door and repeatedly refused to step outside. He later admitted he'd gone outside to dance. Collier proceeded to call 911 in an attempt to report the deputy. Collier was eventually taken into custody on a charge of exposure of sexual organs. He was booked at the Marion County Jail and released after a lady friend posted his $2,000 bond. A lady friend posted his bond. However, he skipped a court date, forfeited his bond. Actually, he forfeited her bond and was rearrested on Friday. A Spruce Creek South man has been jailed without bond on a probation violation. Jason Richard Morissette, 37, was being held this weekend at the Sumter County Detention Center, where he was transferred Friday following his arrest earlier this week by Marion County Sheriff's deputies. He is charged with 2 Sumter County probation violations. The Norfolk, Virginia native has a long history of drug arrests, including a 2018 arrest when a K-9 alerted on his vehicle during a traffic stop at US 301 and Pepper Tree Lane in Wildwood. It don't make no difference what retirement community you go to. There's always these people in there causing trouble. Here's an update on a report from last week, I believe. A woman will lose her license after a crash earlier this year in a roundabout in the Villages. Marie Carmen Williams, 30, of Lady Lake, was released this last week after 20 days in the Sumter County Detention Center. She had been held there since June 28 after a judge revoked her bond following her arrest in May on a charge of driving under the influence. In court, Sumter County last week, Williams pleaded no contest to the DWI charge. She will lose her driver's license for 6 months and has been placed on probation for 1 year. She's the one that had the accident in the roundabout. Here's another update to an arrest I believe happened last week. A husband and wife in the Villages have been reunited after the husband's arrest in a fight sparked by homosexual content on the television. A judge in Sumter County ruled last week that 62-year-old James Edward Barr may return to his home in the village of Pennycamp. The Decatur, Illinois native had been banned since his July 6th arrest at the $1.2 million home on Lake Ridge Drive he purchased with his wife in 2021. Barr's wife filed paperwork with the court indicating they had both been drinking on the night of the altercation. She said alcohol had impaired his judgment and she does not view him as a threat. She said she will not be participating in the prosecution of her husband, to whom she had been married since 1984. So that will end that case. A villager fears that pesticide using is to blame for the fish kill at a pond in his neighborhood. Residents of the village of Harmswood of Bel Air were furious Monday about the dead fish at the pond. The smell was awful and insects were swarming. David Elliott, an 8-year resident of Harmswood of Bel Air, said the fish kill is eerily similar to a fish kill which occurred there in 2017. He said he got involved in that incident 6 years ago and contacted the Florida Department of Agriculture. Elliott said that at the time, the Department of Agriculture concluded that the contractor paid to maintain the pond, Clark Aquatics, had used an overabundance of chemicals in the pond, leading to the fish kill. When a neighbor alerted him Monday to this fish kill, Elliott concluded that the overuse of chemicals was to blame again. The Department of Agriculture also found that tribune herbicides used to treat dense weed areas may result in oxygen decomposition of dead weeds. The loss of oxygen may cause fish suffocation. The village district has switched its pond maintenance contract from Clark Aquatics to Solitude Lake Management LLC, which is seeking a 40% increase in its existing contract with the villages. Elected officials in the villages have balked at the request and have opted to rebid the contract. That'll bring you up to date on what's going on there. A village of Bridgeport at Lake Miona resident suspected of driving under the influence refused to cooperate with law enforcement during a traffic stop at Pinellas Plaza. Alan Salvador Arzu, 50, who lives at 1966 Hartford Path, was driving a blue pickup at about 9 p.m. Saturday when it began weaving in his lane of travel. A traffic stop was initiated at Walgreens at Pinellas Plaza. Arzu identified himself as a private citizen and questioned the deputy's jurisdiction. Arzu repeatedly refused to step out of the vehicle. Two deputies escorted him out of the pickup and placed him in handcuffs. I love that. Escorted him. They yanked his ass out. It appeared Arzu had been drinking, but he refused to participate in field sobriety exercises and would not submit to a breath sample. He also refused to sign a citation. It was determined he was driving on a suspended license. That's why he didn't want to give you anything. They always have something to hide. Arzu was arrested on charges of driving under the influence, driving while license suspended, resisting arrest, and refusal to sign a citation. Yes, here in Florida, you have to sign. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $3,000 bond. How many holes in ones did we get this week? Looks like we got one. A Village of Duval man celebrated after getting a hole-in-one. David Cochran scored the lucky ace Wednesday at hole number 6 at the Volusia Executive Golf Course. I like Volusia. Of all the executive golf courses that I do like, I think Volusia is probably one of my favorites. Challenging, rolling hills, scenic. Sometimes there on the back, like hole number 2 and 3, I think, there's a landfill back there. If the wind's blowing the right way, it can stink. Congratulations on your hole-in-one, David. Okay, I think that's going to be the news this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Give us a like. Make sure you subscribe. All those little things. You've heard them a million times. I know you're sick of it. And we want our channels to get recognized. We want people to find our videos because that's how we grow. And then we got to grow or we're going to die. The end of this is going to be the bad parking in the villages. You guys get a kick out of them. I get a kick out of them too. I don't know who sent all this stuff in. Everybody appreciates it. So see if you can see what's wrong with the way some of these people park. See you on the other side. Don't leave your kid in a golf cart.